Welcome in everyone to the AL Recruiting Power 5 podcast. Got a special guest tonight, quarterback Tanner Bailey. He's a South Carolina Gamecock, but he's a Gordo Green Wave at heart. And Tanner, we're just glad to have you on tonight, man.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me. Yes, sir.
Well, we'll just get right into it. 5 questions. First question tonight. Gordo is a unique place. If you've never been to their high school football stadium, I want to just advise everyone to go. But Tanner, what was it like playing in a small town, growing up there, and representing your town as a player, as a high school player?
Yeah, it was awesome. I tell everybody, there's not much in Gordo, and so the only thing there is to do is play ball. And so every Friday night, football season, baseball season, it's gonna be packed, and support is it's insane. But I mean it's an awesome place to grow up. Very family friendly. And like I said earlier, the support just that's the biggest thing we always say. Gordo is just it's really the coaches are awesome. It's really competitive. And so we love our sports, like I said earlier, just because there's nothing else to do in Gordo except for play ball. So anytime somebody's playing, with that G on their chest, everybody's gonna come out and support them for sure. So yeah, it was an awesome place to grow up. I'm really thankful and blessed to have been in such a special place.
Yeah, I mean, Gordo is a place where when a game is happening, the city or town really shuts down. That's it.
Okay.
And you guys, I'll say this: if you think you have a better small town stadium, post it in the comments. But Gordo has cars that park on one side of the field and they blow the horn whenever a touchdown scored. I got to ask though, has there ever been a case where somebody was turning on the lights when the other team was driving towards that end zone?
I don't know if there has been. There's been a bunch of stuff though. But going back to the support thing, this shows you a lot. Our high school team is in the semifinals this week of the playoffs. And in the outfield, it's a road practically. But people go out there and park out there. They pull their trucks up from the back. Everybody sits at the tailgate, watches the game. So Saturday, they beat Piedmont game 3. Sunday night, every the whole left field line all the way center field, right field, trucks parked out there Sunday night for the game Thursday. And that's literally just all you need to know. But yeah, I honestly I have heard plenty of horns go off in games, and what stuff happen. But yeah, like you said, like I said earlier, I mean the support is awesome. It's second to none. So yeah, I mean it's such a cool place to grow up, especially if you play any kind of sport for sure.
Absolutely. It's got to be on your high school football bucket list stadium if you'd like high school football. Again, drop a comment. I'll try to be out at your stadium this year. Um, Tanner, let me ask you this, man. Like you went through the recruiting process, you really went through it dealing with NIL, portal stuff, all the COVID year, all that stuff going on. You're a 2022 signee. And so like tell us like what would your advice be to players now as if they're going through the recruiting process and listening to somebody like you that's been in a program for a year?
Yeah, I think one of the main things I tell most kids is, sometimes you got to ask the hard questions, because, nowadays with so much money, in the portal, I mean, sometimes, I mean, I hate to say it, but sometimes schools are so businesslike, that it's kind of hard to get a, either an honest answer or a straightforward answer, probably be the
Mm.
better term. So I think one of the things would be ask the hard questions. I think people throw out offers a lot, and some of them aren't committable. Is my offer committable? Stuff like that. So I mean, get real feedback. Don't just kind of let them beat around the bush, and you just kind of just play along with it. I think that'd probably be my main thing that I tell. I told some kids from Gordo that we get a receiver who just got a few offers, some Power 5 offers, and so I just told him, hey, just ask some of the harder questions. Even though you may not get the right answer that you want, it honestly clears up a lot, for making a decision, because nowadays kids are coming earlier, and even with the portal, so the not really the quicker you make a decision, but you want to have more of a clear answer quicker, I guess you could say. Don't let it linger. You know what I'm saying? Don't let schools
Hmm.
play you out. So that probably be my biggest advice to kids.
Absolutely, man. That's great advice. And kind of moving into that, now you are a college football player. You've been there a year. What's life like as a college football player? I mean, I think we see Saturday, but tell us about all the other days of the week.
Yeah, it's definitely different. I mean, I came from a smaller school. Some bigger schools can. I mean, I think I was very prepared. My OC and my head coach did a great job. Teaching me X's and O's. And so, but sometimes kids come from smaller schools with coaches that don't have as much knowledge. But it's a big jump. I was a summer enrollee, so you come in and off season workouts are tough, conditioning's tough, stuff like that. I mean, it's obviously very different. But I think it's just don't let for more advice, I guess, just don't let it get, to your head because everybody's a freshman at once.
Yep.
Very few times, especially in the SEC, do you see true freshmen, playing a lot, even starting, and if it is, it's probably because of injury. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, but I mean, it's been a fun experience, especially I've we got a great coaching staff at South Carolina, which is a huge plus to any school that you want to go to. But yeah, I mean, I've had a great time. It's obviously, like I said, different from high school. But once you start to let it, once it starts to slow down, not only just on the field, but moving away from home, living on your own, stuff like that. Once it starts to slow down a little bit, you get more comfortable. So going to my sophomore season, so looking forward to it and really excited.
Yeah, I mean, and kind of moving into not only life as a college football player, how fun was last season? I mean, you guys, I think I always say this, like the expectation in the room, y'all might have expected that, but nobody else did outside of your locker room. And you beat Tennessee, you beat Clemson, that kind of got that monkey off the back. Like, how fun was that?
It was extremely fun. I mean, we knew that we were a newer team, chemistry wise. Had some guys come in, obviously Spencer, Juice, guys that never really played before, under a new system. And it's tough. We ran a more complex system, maybe not, scheme wise, but terminology wise, we ran something a little bit more complex.
Hmm.
And so it took us a while to gel things together. And we had our ups and downs, but I mean, beating a top five team like Tennessee with, a team that just beat Alabama, team
Hmm.
that that was probably one of the favorites. I mean, in the playoffs,
Hmm.
obviously besides Georgia, but probably one of the coolest memories I'll have for my entire life. Just winning, not only winning the game, beating them by 30 points, and then the fans rush the field. Then 7 days later, going to Clemson, comeback win late in the game, and that's two memories I'll have for a lifetime. Some things I can tell my kids. Show them when I'm older. So yeah, it's obviously been extremely awesome because felt like we worked our butt off all off season. We trusted what our coaches were doing. Coach Beamer, he's been great. But yeah, I mean, it really is nice to see when put in the extra work, things like pay off in the
Hmm.
end. But yeah, I mean, it was extremely fun.
Yeah, we have a lot of listeners that are familiar with Jordan Hare, familiar with Bryant
Yep.
Denny, but I'll say this: Williams Bryce, the atmosphere there is second to none in the
Yeah, I
SEC.
grew up an Auburn fan. So my dad played at Auburn. Grew up a huge Auburn fan, and then my granddad played at Alabama. And so I grew up and even living beside Tuscaloosa. I always go to
Hmm.
Auburn, Bama, and and I still think Williams Bryce. The first time I was at Williams Bryce for a game was literally game one this year, and I suited up, and we
Hmm.
played Georgia State. I was thinking, I knew South Carolina had a great fan base, but they play Sandstorm, and I'm like, oh wow, wow,
Yeah.
this is a little different than I thought it'd be. And then of course Texas A&M gets even louder, Tennessee
Yes.
even louder. And I mean but yeah, it was one of the coolest things I will forever cherish and have as an awesome memory.
Yeah. Just a side note for everybody listening: "Sandstorm" is the song you hear on every Carolina broadcast that you hear it multiple times.
100% everywhere.
Yeah. All right. Last question: what's your best football memory so far?
Oof. Um, I think I'll do high school and college. I think college would definitely be the last 2 weeks. Um, with probably the Tennessee week, just because we were 6 and 4 at the time, and ideally, everybody's thinking, we're trying to win. The number that last year was 8-4. Then that's where we wanted to get at.
Mm-hmm.
Not really room, but the kind of outside, ESPN stuff like that. That was the kind of number everybody's saying 8-4. So we're sitting at 6-4. And then with 2 games left against Clemson, Tennessee, and that seemed pretty far off. But I think that in our locker room, we had a lot of confidence because we knew what talent we had. So coming out there and then just watching the offense click like we knew they could. The defense played their butts off as well. And then that's probably the coolest thing. The rush in the field afterwards was just insane. Obviously you see it on TV. But just and some of my best friends from high school there. So that was probably one of the coolest things ever. So college, Tennessee, and then high school, we got to play in the state championship my junior year. We got beat by a really good Hanley team, but that whole kind of process, I had broken my collarbone week 6, and then came back and had played well in the playoffs, and just that was one of the cooler things as well. And then we also beat Mobile Christian one year. Because they beat us every year, literally every year, and we beat them 1 year, my freshman year, and so that was great memories. I mean, obviously I'll have for a long time, but yeah, fun times for sure.
Absolutely. And you got a camp coming up. Tell our listeners what the camp is and how to sign up for that.
Yeah. So May 20th, I'm doing my own kind of inaugural just football camp. It's gonna be all positions, pretty much all ages. I guess the target would be elementary to middle school kids. That'll probably be most of the kids. But it's just gonna be one of those just fun things and trying to get some kids to learn. We're gonna have a few other guys from some other schools come down. I know some smaller schools in Alabama, as well as Deontay Lawson, who's signed with Bama, is playing at Bama. He'll be there. Trying to get some more guys in there, but yeah, just a fun day for the kids, and hopefully they can take some football knowledge out of it from us. So yeah, May 20th, and that'll be 9 to 11 a.m. And the link is on all my social medias. I've posted it, or either in my bio on Instagram or something like that. But yeah, it should be a fun time for sure.
Absolutely, man. Well, Tanner, we wish you nothing but the best. Hope you have a great season coming up in 2023. And thank you, man, for being on our show tonight.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Hit the subscribe button. Make sure you follow Tanner. His link or his Twitter is posted right at the bottom of this video. Thanks again, everyone. Have a great one.